Hey guys, welcome back. This is Total Fitness Podcast. My name is Matthew.
I'm Walter.
And today we are kind of just doing a rundown of what has been going on with us, why we had to cancel, or not cancel, sorry, postpone. Yeah, we're still doing it. The 10,000 calorie challenge, the eat and burn challenge, a little bit of updates on, stuff that's important to us and, diet, nutrition, all that kind of good stuff today. So we'll get started. Walter, what's the reason for having to postpone?
Okay, so COVID, let's blame COVID for everything. But basically, yeah, that's what it is. I mean, I found out it's not so difficult to do the 10,000 in challenge. I can certainly eat, and there's a lot of good stuff that I had planned that I was going to take in for those calories. But it's getting rid of the calories the next day. And here's the problem. At work, PTs, I'm a personal trainer, we're not allowed to use the cardio equipment because that was for the few clients who were allowed into the gym. I asked a friend if I could borrow his bike, and I figured, well, I could bike a bit. I could sneak into the gym and use the elliptical for a bit, that sort of thing. But then, A, the gym was going to close. B, it snowed here all day, the day that we were going to be
really badly too. It was supposed to rain and be 4 degrees, and it snowed nonstop all day.
That's it. It was lovely, and it inhibited my run this morning, but not badly. I just had a greater time frame rather than the speed that I wanted to go at. What else? I couldn't run or walk. Obviously, I would have had to do it for like 14 hours. Run for 14 hours.
Yeah, basically.
And people did suggest, well, why don't you do jumping jacks? How many jumping jacks for 10,000 calories? It just seems ridiculous.
It's the same thing. You're literally doing jumping jacks for almost 10 hours straight.
Well, that's it. And
when
it's goodbye, it's the Matt show.
Yeah, sorry. When Walter and I planned this.
So basically, we're going to put it off until some of this blows over, things open up again, and access to that equipment. So at least we can do 2 hours on this, move over to this, do a couple of hours on that, move over to that. Preferably warm and not in the snow at the time. And the nice thing is, Matt will have healed well enough by then that we can both do the challenge as originally planned.
Yeah, so that's the benefit of that. The other thing is Walter and I had kind of planned to, again, we were going to record the whole thing. So we wanted to make it like, hey guys, here's a little HIIT circuit you guys can do at home to burn off a couple of calories, right? Because that was the plan. We're not staying on a bike for 10 hours straight because, yeah, we could, but it's kind of boring, and we want to make this more fun.
I can't feel my crotch. I can't feel my crotch.
There's that too. So, we were planning on doing a little bit of everything, right? So that was part of the issue too. We needed some of the gym equipment for that.
And you couldn't get into the gym to work with me.
Yeah.
Because we've got 10 people allowed in the gym, and we've got 30 people who want to get in the gym at the same time.
Yeah. So I would take up literally, I'm not even working out. I'm just holding the camera, and I would be that 10th person. Right. So
yeah, exactly.
That was part of it. So the good news is it is being postponed. We still are doing it. We're still doing the push-up challenge. We're still doing the fitness seminar on Wednesday. So we still have everything planned. It's just postponed a little bit. Now let's talk about postponements and cancellations. Walter, again, because you had the experience of the cancellation of the show and postponement of the show, we're going to talk about a big issue that a lot of our friends had gone through this past weekend, which was the Canadian Physique Alliance ended up canceling the biggest amateur bodybuilding show in all of Canada. This is a show that a lot of people prep for upwards of 2 years. And I'm talking like dieting, prepping. This is like they have their sights set for this show. Yeah. There's they qualified for it, and 2 years later, that's when they're doing it. Now, keep in mind, a lot of these people too have been planning to get their pro card for 15, 20 years. So it's a big, big deal to bodybuilders, right? And unfortunately, it was completely canceled this year entirely, 2 days away from the actual morning of the show. So Walter, why don't you kind of give your thought on that?
Well, I can see the reason, and certainly, I think it is better to cancel the show than to bring people out of a red zone to travel into a non-red zone to do the show, because what they're doing is possibly bringing the infection into an area
Yeah.
that's
So why don't you explain that a bit more? Like explain kind of the where it started, like it was supposed to be Toronto and then what they were trying to
well,
relocate
yeah.
it.
I mean, it was supposed to be Toronto, and like the show you were in, it was
Yeah.
moved from one location to another location to another location. Finally, they got a space in Barrie that was going to allow them to do it, and then the city of Barrie said, "No, you're not,"
Yeah.
because they locked down so that people couldn't come in. And I understand that. I understand the uh, level of frustration that the athletes are feeling.
Mhm.
Absolutely. We've both been through it. You managed to get under the wire and into the show,
Yeah.
but I didn't. And, I can understand all that, but I do wonder at the constant pushing against the wall. We'll move it, we'll move it, we'll move it, we'll move it, rather than just going, you know what, this is bigger than us.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. Up until I saw Instagram post 2 days ago about this, I thought the same way. I thought, wow, the CPA is doing such a great job. They're really caring for the athletes to really make this show happen. And then I saw an Instagram post that was saying the complete opposite of that, which was these guys know what goes into a bodybuilding show. They know how much money goes into a show. They already knew that fucking 20 shows were canceled that were already rescheduled and then canceled. Like my show was pushed back 8 weeks, 6, 8 weeks, whatever it was. Like, it's absolute insanity that, you're spending more and more money. You're deteriorating your health even more and more. You're stressing out. Your mental health is wearing down because, you're pushing yourself so hard. Your body's breaking down on you, which mine did. And that post made me realize, I was like, damn, that's actually kind of true. Is it really smart and in the best interest of the athletes to keep pushing the show back because we want to get them to their pro card win? Possibly we want to make this show happen for them? Or would it have been better even 4 weeks ago just to have said, hey guys, based on the circumstances we're in, based on the government's regulations, outlines, or projections, I guess you should call them.
Or just the numbers, the way they were trending.
Yeah. So I guess the projection numbers, right? Is it really wise for us to possibly get you guys to prep and then have to cancel 2 weeks before or a week before? Well, guess what happened? They canceled 2 days before, not even 2 days. It was like a day and a half before the show. I knew guys that, again, this was 5 times in this past week alone, this show got relocated. So they went from Hamilton to I can't even remember. They ended up in Barrie.
They were in Kitchener for a
That's
little
right.
bit.
Yeah. So they went to all these places. They ended up in Barrie, and in Barrie, that's when they said no. And they're like, okay, we're going to find a new place. We'll let you guys know in 2 hours. There was guys that already flew out from Calgary or Vancouver or freaking PEI, Nova Scotia, wherever these guys are from. And they're sitting in Barrie being like, what the hell's going on? I just spent $1,000 on a flight and a hotel room, and I don't even know where the show is anymore. And then 2 hours later, they find out the show's canceled and they're back on the flight going home. So was it really in the best interests? I'm not going to say anything. I think, there obviously are people that care, but at the same time, I think, it was really, I don't know. It was really unwise, I guess, unsafe of the CPA to allow that to happen for that long. And, it's kind of like I don't know.
I mean, I'm going to not necessarily play devil's advocate, but I got to say too that I honestly think that the athletes, if you've flown in from Calgary or Vancouver, well, you're part of the problem. You're like the American who's going to go visit my family for Thanksgiving, no matter what, despite the fact that everyone is saying don't. And so you're part of the problem as well. I'm sure that the guys at CPA were doing it with the best of intentions, that they wanted to make sure their athletes were getting what they had aspired to, and doing their best, despite what some people may say or think. But we've all had to adjust terribly to this thing. And I think that a little more forethought would have been a better choice for them.
Yeah. And that's kind of what my thought process is. If I look back and, my show was canceled 6 weeks before I was about to compete, like the first time I found it, 8 weeks before I was about to compete, and that was it. And it was like, this is canceled. We're not doing it. Because again, Walter and I had planned for like 6 different shows starting as of like September 20th, mid-September sometime. If I had found out earlier, I would be way more okay with it. And I just probably would have kept dieting and done photo shoots or something.
You wouldn't have ended up in the hospital.
I wouldn't have ended up in the hospital.
Perhaps.
And again, I don't regret competing. I love doing it. It's just, man, it was tough. More so mentally, like physically, obviously, but mentally, just the stress of not knowing. And I guess you can relate that to COVID, like with all these regulations that are going on in Ontario right now. We just don't know what's even happening anymore because the government isn't being super transparent anymore. Like, why are we closing this? Why are we closing this? And then you're like, when's the next show day? Is there going to be a show? And then you're in peak week and you're like, this is where you should be relaxing and trying to de-stress and get your cortisol levels down. And, the show gets canceled. Oh, it's back on. And you're like, oh shit, what am I doing? Right. So,
well, and also getting texts and emails from clients saying, what do I do?
Yeah. Yeah. That's the big one.
Guide me through this because I don't know what to do now.
Yeah. That was the big one.
Well, pick up the tomato juice can.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that one was tough. When you like Walter and I guess are at points where, yeah, everybody still has issues, right? We all have our little breakdowns here and there, but we're at the point where, sorry. Okay. I'll talk for myself right now.
Yes.
When I get down, the good thing is I can pull myself out really quickly because I know how. It takes me a little bit of time, but I know how. There's some people that I train that don't know how to even get close to that. And if something goes out of routine or something breaks or fails them, they are done. And it's just disaster. And it takes months of just getting back to that cycle of doing well again. And unfortunately, that's what happened with a couple of my clients. And it's exactly as Walter said. It's really tough as me as a coach. It was really tough to tell clients, hey guys, like, this is what you need to be doing this. I know there's like, your life is shit right now. I know you lost your job. You're not making money. You can barely afford rent at the moment. You're not sure what's going on, if you're even going to have a job when things open back up. But the one thing you can control is this is what needs to be done. And they just can't do it because obviously it's not first thing on their mind. Yeah, it's tough for me to try to, because again, I'm really dedicated to my clients. I'll sit down with them for 2 hours and talk if that's what they need to do, right? And it weighs down on me. And maybe that's just my fault for, that's my coaching style. But guess what? That's the way I do it, and that's the way I like it. And my clients do well with it. So I'm going to keep doing that. But again, it does weigh down on me, and it's unfortunate just based on the circumstances. But you're the same, right?
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, I can't leave a client not knowing what they're going to do. The difficulty is that, if they've joined the gym and they've started coming to the gym and they're working with me and they're using the weights and they're doing all the good things, then all of a sudden I turn to them and I say, guess what? You're going to learn body weight now.
Mm-hmm.
And for the next whatever length of time, because we really don't know. 28 days could be, 50 days by the time the government's finished. You're going to be doing body weight for the rest of that period. The uncertainty is really difficult for them.
Yeah.
And even the fact that they're at home instead of going to a physical space where they can let go of all the outside shit to work. It's different. But I mean, we get through it. We get through it and we help them get through it.
I think that's a good point that you brought up, though, as why people are having such a difficult time right now with training. And I guess this kind of brings us into our next segment. In terms of training, you're talking about how body weight at home training, it's hard to leave. I would show my bed, but it's a mess right now. My bed is directly over here, and my home gym is just out this door, right? There's times where it's hard from getting out of bed in the morning to go to the bike. But if I knew I had to go to the gym and get on the bike at the gym, it's a little bit easier because I'm getting out of my house. I'm getting out of my space that I recognize as bed is over there. That's sleep space. This
Yeah.
is my workspace. This area here's my workspace. That area is my gym space. And it's taken me a really long time. And when I say really long time, it's taken me since start of COVID till about 2 weeks ago, I would say, not even joking, when I had to start working out at home because of my injuries or my leg issues, to actually realize, yeah, this is my workspace. This is my gym space. That's my sleep space. Separate them all. That's where I do work. This is where I do work. That's where I do work. Right. And I think people are having a hard time with separating the fact that this is your home, but it's also now your business. It's also now your place of employment. It's also now your gym. It's also now a daycare center if you have kids. It's all these things, right? If you do therapy, you're doing it online. It's your therapist's office. It's your doctor's office, right? So I think that's a really good point to bring up. And I mean, you could probably, because you had more of an issue because you had less equipment than I did.
Yeah.
Right. So like with that, what was your experience with it?
Well, I was very lucky in that, some friends did lend me some weights, no bench. So everything was floor. I mean, I was lying on the floor. I was doing flat presses. I could do back really easily because I was up.
Yeah.
Once I got my bands, it became a different story because they could augment so much what I was doing.
Yeah.
And even some of the stuff, some of the videos we posted out in my backyard on my deck.
Yeah.
It was all band work and it was great.
Yep.
But I need, no, I want, I don't need. I want to be able to leave my home, get the fresh air that it takes to go the distance, separate myself from that reality to get into that reality to face the metal.
Right.
Right. And when I don't have that, when I'm just going down to my basement or my backyard, not now. Oh, the cats are so cute. Oh, I'll just put in a load of laundry. Oh, I'll just do that. It takes away from the experience and it takes away from the drive that I have within the gym.
Yeah.
I would turn a hour and a half workout into a 3-hour workout because of externals.
Let me ask you this. You say it's not a need. It's not a need, but a want.
Yeah.
But I think to some extent, it sometimes can be a need. It's sometimes a necessity to certain people.
Absolutely.
Right. For us, maybe no, because, we know kind of what we're doing and we obviously realize our extent and our situation and circumstance. But, I have friends that they need to go to the gym. They need to get out of the house because if they don't, they're not working out at home. They're going to be lifting a bottle up or they're going to be putting a needle in their arm or something like that. Right.
Or eating.
Or eating. Right. And just, they'll lift up the remote to turn on the TV and they'll sit down on the couch and that's their squat for the day and that's their front raise for the day, right?
Absolutely.
So there is definitely a circumstance where it is a need. But yeah, I mean, I made an Instagram post about this today where it's, the circumstance may not be the reason you didn't make your circumstance. COVID is something that is completely out of control, but it is our responsibility as if we truly love ourselves, it is our responsibility to make the best of the situation. And I believe that to be true in terms of you guys, no matter how bad the workout is at home, if you get bored of it, if you don't find any progression because you've gotten to a point, and that's bullshit, if there's always progression, there's always ways to make stuff harder. You just may not like it. But that's what is needed. It's your responsibility to make that situation better, right? It's nobody else's, I think we've realized that by now that, there's help out there if you're willing to ask for it and put in the work. But you have to be willing to put in the work yourself first before you even ask for that help, because otherwise you're just going to squander that help and you're going to be sitting back in the same position you were before. Right.
Yeah. You've got to take action for your own life.
Exactly. Yeah. There was one other thing I was going to say. Oh, that's right. Yeah. Talking about the home gyms. Yeah. I took it completely. sidetracking, but you were talking about going from a 1 hour workout to a 3 hour workout. I was going to, just before I jumped on doing cardio, I got a call from one of my managers, and I was like, well, yeah, I'll go take that call instead of the cardio because I'm right here. I can just jump on the bike after, and 30 minutes, 45 minutes later, then it's like, well, I'm hungry. I better go eat. Well, and I need to kind of take a little bit of a digestion break before I jump on the bike. So again, it does really turn into like a 3 hour workout when it was supposed to be 30 minutes, right?
Well, there was a really wise guy that I remember reading something the other day on Instagram who was talking about the need to plan out your day and make sure you have your list of priorities and how everything works. And I think that, and I've taken that to heart because I'd fallen off the wagon as far as that kind of planning was concerned. And if I know I have to get it done and I know that I have to do that cardio, then perhaps I can postpone the phone call.
Yeah.
Because I've got to say, from 9 until 11, it's my time, and I won't pick up the phone and I won't do whatever during that time. From 11 till wherever, okay, that's business. And for me, from 3 to 5, I'm writing.
Yeah.
So I don't allow for any interference during the writing period, and I don't allow for any interference during the workout period.
Yeah, no, that's good.
More or less. I'm not perfect.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's it. As long as you're making the attempts and the strides to actually put that in place, right? It definitely helps, especially when you were going from whatever you were doing before, right?
Yeah.
But that's a good point, and kind of segues into our next position or topic of discussion. Is the importance of organizing, but how to be productive as a human being. We've talked about being productive before, but I think we have failed to talk to you guys about being productive in terms of sleep and diet, how big of an impact that will actually have on you. And as Walter's saying, you can plan out your day and you can go from 9 in the morning. And honestly, Walter doesn't start at 9 in the morning. He starts at 4 in the morning. He goes from 4 in the morning. He would do clients. He would then do 9 to 11 as he's saying his workout. And then he would go and continue to do work. Then he would write 3 to 5. And then he continues to do more work. And you go to bed at what time?
Usually 11:30, 12 o'clock.
Right. So,
which I am learning to change.
Exactly. So, but this is what I want to ask you, because I've kind of shifted the other way now, where I've improved my sleep patterns, where I was doing that before. And my work and my performance in the gym and just as a person in terms of my productivity, trying to get things done it personally was just awful. I would not perform the same. I would just want to I was so tired all the time. I would want to sleep. It's like when you're dieting, all you can think about is food, right? And I mean, you're probably kind of thinking the same thing right now, right?
Well, absolutely. Sleep deprivation is a form of dieting.
Yeah.
Because sleep, like food, is something that we need. And if you're depriving yourself of enough sleep to get by, you're going to deal with the repercussions of that.
Mm-hmm.
If you feel like you're in a fog all the time, how effective are you? So why are you up all the time trying to get work done?
Yeah.
I found that if I do allow myself with that extra sleep, I'm nowhere near the 7 hours or 8 hours that one should have, according to the doctors. But when I'm closer to that number, I'm clearer in my mind, and then I can get more done. If all I'm doing is trying not to sleep in front of the computer screen, then how much writing am I getting done?
Exactly. Yeah. That's honestly perfect explanation of it, right? Sleep is extremely important. If you're the type of person that's like, I remember in high school, I would have contests with people, or it was just a thing in high school and university where it's like, oh, you got 4 hours of sleep, but I only got 2 hours of sleep, because somehow that made you better, because it meant you were working harder. But let's look at the actuality.
Till that time.
Yeah. But that's the actuality there. When I would stay up till 3 in the morning doing schoolwork, and then had to wake up at 6. The reason I was up till 3 in the morning doing schoolwork, because I fucked around for about 6 of those hours from 6 p.m. to like 12 p.m. And I was like, crap, I have an assignment due tomorrow. Throw together whatever piece of crap I could actually figure out. And, it's get a passing grade on the thing and get 3 hours of sleep. That was pretty much it.
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of people do. A lot of people, before they go to bed, they pull out their phone. They pull out their phone and, oh, I'm just going to send off a text. I'm just going to send off an email. I'll just browse Instagram for 5 minutes. And then 3 hours later, you're still on and you're like, damn, I have to wake up in 2 hours. So that is a big issue as well.
I'm taking a course right now on habit coaching and helping people to change habits long term. Mm-hmm. And sleep is one of the things that we're talking about, and they're advocating, and it blows my mind, powering down your electronics at 8 p.m.
Yeah.
So that you don't have that in your mind anymore. And I mean, I fight with clients who are like, but I listen to podcasts to put me to sleep. And then I reach over and I send a text. Well, then the podcast is not putting you to sleep. Yeah. And I hope you're not listening to our podcast. And, so it's, I think there's got to be a midpoint where you can say, okay, I am not at work anymore. Why am I sending texts?
Yeah.
And if it's to, your, someone you're seeing or whatever like that, well, that's I guess a different thing. But at some point you have to realize that the blue light that comes off of our screens is not good for our sleep habits.
Exactly. And you get the argument of, well, I need to do work. Well, if you woke up earlier and you got better sleep, you may have been more productive during the day anyways and wouldn't have to stay up to do that work.
Robin Sharma, 5 a.m. club.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, there's obviously outliers. I know that, but yeah, it's a good point. And lastly is diet. This is kind of fitting because we're talking about a 10,000 calorie cheat meal challenge and burn challenge. The reason we chose the cheat meal is to show you guys the effect of, and explain to you, obviously 1 day of eating 10,000 calories isn't going to show you the full extent of what it does to one's body, but it will show you the lethargic, energy sapping effect it will have on Walter and I guess me now too. And what it will basically just want us to do is sleep all day, because that amount of sugar, high fat, high carb food just puts you in a food coma, and you just want to sleep. You don't want to do anything. Your digestion isn't functioning properly. So you don't even want to do anything productive because you move and your stomach growls at you and hurts, right? That's just what it is. And I think people are starting with the pandemic. It's a big issue because we were told by our government, guys, sit at home, watch Netflix, order in food. Don't go out to restaurants to eat, order in food. And I'm like, oh, I'll cook food at home. Because if you're ordering in food, and a lot of people are doing this, no activity, and now you're eating out every night, you're just going to be gaining weight. You're going to be feeling like crap. You're going to, look like crap, unfortunately. Like that's what happens when your skin starts getting greasier. You just don't, you're not as lively, I guess you could say. Pimples start popping up on your face. Where's that coming from? All that sugar and all that grease you're eating, right? So why don't you, because you were supposed to be doing it this weekend, why don't you go on about your challenge, your calories?
Well, I mean, I looked into it and what I was going to be eating and stuff like that. And I mean, there were a lot of cheats that I was planning on, like the 3 eggs added to the protein powder to make pancakes and that sort of thing. I was looking at protein shakes that included bananas and peanut butter and ice cream.
Yeah.
And what is that? That's fat and sugar. Oh yeah, there's some protein binding it together. I had I won't say intention. I was positive that at some point I was going to be vomiting. Like there would be no way to get through that day.
Yeah.
Solid food and those shakes and all that stuff without vomiting at some point, because my body just doesn't deal with that anymore.
Yeah.
After a few years of dieting down and trying to maintain health, to suddenly go, oh, well, okay. Remember my first show.
Yeah, let's explain this. Explain that.
Okay. So my first show, we finished the show. It was great. I won. It was wonderful. I looked great. I was in the best shape of my life. And after, we went to Mandarin.
Yep.
And I got up about 7 or 8 times and just filled the plate and ate.
Yeah.
Yogurt, frozen yogurt. I'll have another one. And it took me about 4 days before I started to feel normal again.
Yeah.
I wasn't sick. I was just, everything hurts. Nothing's right. I hate this.
Yeah.
The hiccups, which happen to me all the time anyway. That it was just a really bad experience. And that was nowhere near 10,000 calories.
No, exactly. And this is what people don't realize is if you're used to eating crappy food, you don't realize that what you're doing when you're eating that.
Disclaimer, Mandarin is a lovely restaurant and a great place to go with your family.
Yes, it is pretty tasty. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
Maybe not the healthiest. There's salad there. There's salad. It's pretty healthy.
Nobody takes it.
Yeah, it's always full and fresh.
Yeah.
It's just plastic. It's not real. It's just for show. So a good point though is just when you're eating that type of food all the time, and again, you could be eating a healthy breakfast, but then the rest of the day you eat pretty crappy, chunky, sugary foods, high fat foods, stuff like that. You don't know how that's your normal. So you eat that and you're like, well, this is just how I feel all the time. Well, no, it's not supposed to be how you feel all the time. I can tell you right now, when I started diet, the healthiest I ever feel in my entire year when I'm competing or whatever is from 16 weeks out to about 6 weeks out. That's the healthiest because that's where I'm eating and I'm cleaning up my diet. I don't have cheat meals. There's no sugar during the week. Because in my off season, when I'm at my peak of my off season, you're just trying to gain weight. And trust me, guys, for me, it's really hard to gain weight. So for example, my coach was telling me, yeah, I know. Sorry. My coach was telling me, have pancakes in the morning. I was like, sweet protein pancakes. He's like, no, have pancakes in the morning with syrup. So take a high glycemic carb and put more high glycemic carb on top of it. And then on top of that, maybe have some peanut butter for some extra fat and, smear it all around. And that was my breakfast. That's what I was waking up at 4:30 in the morning and eating. It was delicious, but man, does it make you crash within 20 minutes. Now I get up at 4, I'm out the door. There's no need for me to sleep during the day. Sometimes I do because I just like napping and I think it's helpful to clear my own head, just for whatever. But when I'm off season, I need that nap because I literally crash. Like I'll do one client and halfway through the client, I'm falling asleep and I'm just like, I can't even keep my head up. That's all it is. And it's because of the first thing I eat in the morning is high sugar, high fat, again, for a purpose. So I'm just putting that out there as a disclaimer. It's not like I was doing that for a long period of time, but it was for a purpose. But a lot of you guys are just eating this way because that's what you've grown up doing. You weren't educated on proper nutrition. You weren't educated on how you should be eating, what difference it actually makes. And a lot of you guys, sometimes it comes down to you're just lazy. You don't want to make the healthy food. You don't want to make the egg whites in the morning. So sometimes you even just go skip breakfast, go to McDonald's and order their sausage McMuffin or something, right? So, yeah.
I don't know. I find myself transitioning from the bodybuilder to the longevity guy. And the one thing that I've got to say is that, you want to last. It's been about 10 years since I sold my last car, because what's the point of having a car when you live downtown Toronto? But I do know this. I would pull up to the gas and there would be 3 different levers or 3 tanks or whatever. And one was, I don't care about my car. One is I kind of care about my car, and one is I really care about my car.
See,
I'm going to spend more money on it.
You're calling me out here for putting in the 87 gas instead of 93.
But I mean, honestly, in terms of the health of the body,
Yeah.
it's not just a matter of convenience. It's not just a matter of any of that stuff. It's how long do you want to be around? You got to feed your machine properly if you want to last.
I wouldn't say it like that, because there could literally be, you could step off a curb the wrong way that's this high and still like fall down in such a way that you crack your skull open and die tomorrow, right?
Hey, my husband broke his shoulder by tripping over a piece of pavement that was that high.
Yeah, exactly. So what I will say though, and you make a really good point. All these injuries, all these health problems I've had has really, and I'm kind of thankful for them because again, because of the genetic heart issue with the rhabdo, with the quad tear, it has made me more like, okay, I need the longevity side of things. If I want to actually continue doing what I love for a long time, if I can live for a long time based on certain conditions that are out of my control, whatever, getting hit by a bus, then I want to do it. Right. But what I will say is in terms of saying like longevity, I would say it more just in performance and how you feel day to day, like being your best self. Again, going back to what this whole podcast is about, being your best self. No, eh?
Here's the thing. The human mind doesn't work that way.
Okay.
If the human mind says, okay, it's not about longevity, it's not about long-term effects.
Right.
It's about being your best self today. Then if I cheat today, it's okay. And then it's
okay. I get what you mean.
Wednesday, I'll start my diet. Yeah. I mean, every time I fail on my diet on Tuesday, I don't say I'm going to start my diet again on Wednesday. I say I'm going to start my diet again on Monday.
See, that's interesting.
Right?
Yeah.
And that's what most people will do. So I think, granted, the bus may hit me, the comet may hit the planet. Saw a great movie called Greenland last night. There's a lot of things that can happen.
Yeah.
But to optimize the chances should those things not happen and make sure that we are able to run with our grandchildren, says the gay guy. But then we have to take better care of ourselves.
Yeah, absolutely.
And honestly, eating long-term crap food is not going to give you that result.
Or not sleeping.
And eating long-term healthily, sleeping properly, working out properly, all the things we are proponents of will give you that long-term benefit.
Yeah. I do like that you say that. With the sleep too, my heart, the first time I ended up in the hospital with a big heart issue, where I had to have, I was in there for 12 hours, a defibrillator, everything like that. They said part of the reason was obviously stress, obviously anxiety, obviously genetics, the caffeine, because I was taking pre-workout every day, plus drinking coffee because I was not sleeping. But the big issue was I wasn't sleeping a lot. And I was pretty much at this point, I'm not an insomniac, but I was not sleeping well at all. And that's a huge issue. And I was 19, I think, when that happened, 19 years old, going into the hospital, and they're like, oh my God, he might have a heart attack and a stroke because I wasn't sleeping enough. Right. That was one of the main reasons it set off. I'm grateful that, it happened. So I know what's going on now. So down the line for the next, if I live 60 more years, amazing. Then I know how to kind of control everything and what I have to do to keep living that long. But I could have literally died from a stroke if I came into the hospital 2 hours later. And again, part of that reason was because I wasn't taking care of my body in terms of sleep. Right. So it is something you guys should definitely be worrying about in terms of longevity, right? But that's that. A little bit of everything today.
Yeah.
Any last words?
We call it Mother's Mess, the buffet. Well, welcome to Mandarin.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah. All right. This is the Mandarin.
Yeah, I have nothing else to say. We all keep exercising. Do everything you can, guys. Whatever it may be, go for a walk.
Yeah. And as you guys know, we're always here to help. We're happy to respond to your DMs. And, if you have questions, please send them our way. We would love to actually, because again, if you guys have questions, there's probably more people out there that do. So we would love to talk about them on the show. So send them our way. As well, keep donating to our Movember campaign. We are, yeah, he's looking good.
Yeah.
I'm finally back to like a nice kind of thickish beard, so I'm happy about that. Never shaving again. And then what else? So yeah, stay tuned for our 10K challenge happening hopefully within 28 days. We'll see what the government says about that. We still have the push-up challenge, and we still have the fitness seminar this coming Wednesday.
Yeah.
So don't forget about that, guys. Send us your emails, and we'll get you logged in on that. Aside from that, stay safe, stay healthy.
That's
have a
it.
great day.
That
There
was
you
good.
go.